Matt from Keystone Experience checking in for a pre-2024 buck season deer hunting packing list video. Wanted to touch base and just say I'm super stoked for deer season. I think I'm going to be a lot better planned this year. We are headed up to Kettle Creek, Potter County area, and Lord willing, my oldest son and I will be out for 5 days of deer hunting. We've got a doe tag, and you can take one buck in Pennsylvania. So there's a possibility to actually shoot 2 deer, which would be great. Fill the freezer, lots of healthy meat. And so I wanted to make this video to share the enthusiasm, hopefully get you pumped up for deer hunting, and kind of do a what's in my backpack video as I hunt the Hammersley Wild area, which is on Kettle Creek and in Potter County. And just also talk about a little bit about my hunting strategy and my experience. But anyway, yeah, first things first. I'm not gonna jump into clothing on this video. It's gonna be a video that says what's in my backpack. Stay tuned to the end for see if you can guess what rifle I'm gonna carry. Put your comments in the video below. What caliber deer rifle? I'll drop that at the end. Okay, first piece of gear. What's in my backpack all day? It's gonna be me and my son all 5 days. And so, first things first is my backpack. This is it's kind of actually large, but there's advantages to that, as you'll see. This is an Osprey Kestrel. My first real backpack in the 90s was an Osprey Kestrel. These newer ones are not quite as durable, but they have a lot more features than the early ones. Built-in rain fly, any sort of pouch that you can imagine. I like the zip loading backpacks, yeah. Interestingly enough, I was actually wearing this backpack last year when I shot my deer, so it's kind of interesting. The shoulder straps are pretty small, but I was able to shoulder my rifle with the backpack on and make a shot with it on. So yeah, backpack, it looks like it's going to be 32 liters tall, so that's the size of the backpack. It's got a main compartment. It's got water bottles on the outside, which is nice. Yeah. So backpack, it's all gonna fit into that. One thing that I just don't leave out the home without is Poncho. This is great for sitting. It helps keep it warm. You can stay out in rain with this guy. This is a must-have for all-weather hunters. We may be taking a wool blanket. I don't have that down here in the shop with me, but that would keep my son warm as we're seated for potentially hours at a time. So poncho, wool blanket. Next up, drag rope. Got a 1-inch tubular nylon drag rope. That can make a nice shoulder strap. Last year, my deer drag was over 1.5 miles to drag it out. So it was kind of long, and so got a drag rope. I also have, with the drag rope, I have some paracord that can be useful for dragging a deer or just any sorts of situations. As mentioned in previous videos, well, to step back, the strategy for our hunt, Pennsylvania buck season 2024, is the first day. The strategy is we'll be seated, we'll find a good place, hike in as far as we can, approximately 1.2 miles, and just sit. And the idea is that we're out remote and that other hunters that aren't as far out would push game in towards us. We're gonna be seated up on a bench where we can have like a 180-degree viewing, maybe more, maybe 270. It's out on the end of a peninsula. And so, yeah. Then the second day, we'll be still hunting in the Hammersley Wild area. And so that's where this backpack really comes into play. But I will be using the same gear list essentially for the first day where I'm seated most of the day, as well as the still hunting out in the Hammersley Wild area. So one other thing I have is I've got this basically tree marking tape. This can be useful for many things. One thing, when we're the first day when we're still hunting, I want to wrap it around the tree that we're sitting on, so hunters coming through the woods know that we're on this area. Also, as a kind of a sign to hopefully say, hey, stay away, don't come up and talk to me the first day. The second day, the tape can be useful. It can be handy for if we do shoot a deer or have to leave it, hang part of it in a tree overnight, we can tape it. The area that I'm planning to hunt the second day in the Hammersley, I've never been into this area. If you watch my other videos on the Hammersley Wild area, you know that I love exploring the Hammersley, and but it's wild, and so I'm gonna have some tape. So that's another tool there. One thing I'd say, wet ones, those are handy. Kind of a loud package, but these guys are nice. Toilet paper's great too. A little bit quieter, but these are handy out in the woods. Let's see, what's next? Rangefinder, taking a rangefinder, especially for that first day, but I will, there's different areas where we hunt that we get the pipelines where we can see very far, or on that bench where we can see, so getting my ranges. Any guesses on what that rifle is at the end of this video? I'll give you a hint. It's like right back there. You can see it. You can also see the ammo. Binoculars, little set of binoculars. That's going to be helpful. I'll take a flash charger for charging my cell phone. I don't have that down here at the moment. Handkerchief. It's a handy little tool to have. I'll take a pocket knife for skinning, but I also take this skinning knife if for some reason we'd end up having to shoot a deer and couldn't drag it out. Maybe we're 4 miles back. Maybe we quarter it up and hang it in a tree. And with this skinning knife, I brought something else that can be useful if we'd have to just debone and butcher the whole thing in the field. I'm taking 2 contractor grade garbage bags. These are great. I keep them in my truck bag, the get home bag. That you can use these as ponchos, as bivy sacks. I don't know if they're 80 gallon or not, but they're massive. But the idea is that if we had to, we could debone a whole deer in the field, put it in these bags, and we could carry it out in one trip. Let's see. Got a water bottle, liter water bottle, some duct tape wrapped around it, and then a nesting cup, kind of can go in my backpack. Don't know that I'd need this cup, but it's kind of handy if you'd have to spend the night and cook something on a fire, melt snow, handy. Let's see. I have this pack, which is like a lot of dedicated survival items. Let's see, what else do I have? Because there's no cell service up there, we can use our satellite tracking devices, but because there's no cell service, 2 radios. If my son and I would get separated for some odd reason, we could still stay in communications with radios. I got a bag of extra batteries, AAA, AA, CR123s, great little pouch. I carry this with me everywhere to work, hunting. Very small little first aid kit as well. And then taking this with me, again, if I have to butcher a deer, this is a Gerber. It currently has a bone saw blade on it, but so in case I have to cut through the joint, a ligament of it, something I couldn't butcher. I also have a tree trimming blade for that in here too. So. Bags of snacks and foods, that's essential. Lots of snacks. I'll probably pack, if I think I'll be home for lunch, which that would be the first day, probably just pack 1 sandwich. But if I'm gonna be out all day, I might pack 2 sandwiches. Lots of little snacks that just keep not only kids, but adults entertained and going strong. Before I talk about the rifle, I'll jump in and talk about what's in this survival pack. If you saw my hike across Hammersley Wild area with 4 kids, one of the things I forgot from that was a physical map. And so I've got a physical map in here of the areas we'll be hunting, but let's take a look. What's in here? This is, somebody told me this is like a winter survival necklace, but basically you have chapstick here and a lighter on this end. With that, I have fire starters in an Altoids can. Basically cotton that is soaked in Vaseline. There's 6 little cotton balls in there, and great for starting a fire if we'd have to spend the night, or if we shoot a deer and want to start a fire to kind of keep ourselves warm as we're butchering it. That'll be handy as well. Backup pocket knife in here. Treatment for water. I think finding good water in a desperate situation would be fine, but it's nice to have treatments so you don't get the old beaver fever. Whistle. These are handy, very handy. I've got one for myself and one for Knox. And I've got a compass, and then I've got 2 maps. And then this is a map. There's a great PDF online of the Hammersley Wild area, but this shows the whole Hammersley Wild area. It's a little faded. You can see let's see, we've got the first trip we crossed the Hammersley Wild area. The second trip was to go up to the H.F. Duttlinger natural area that took us here. The third trip across was the Trout Run Ridge trailhead that we kind of came across and then back down. And the most recent was the Nelson Hollow Trail, which was maybe our longest, 9.95 miles, almost 10. And so, yeah, looking forward to a 5th adventure into the Hammersley Wild area. They do make better topos than this, but this one's pretty good. Of course, a true topo would be better. Anyway, that's the maps and compass in this survival little knapsack that goes in our hunting bag. I heavily use Strava as a satellite-based app, and Strava is just great for seeing topography and understanding where you're at. Okay, so if you stuck through here to the end, I'll talk a little bit about the rifle and the ammunition that I'll be using this year for deer hunting. The old red box and the rifle. So this is the rifle I will be using. Again, kind of an interesting story with this rifle. My dad gifted my brother and I some rifle. He basically gifted my brother and I each a firearm maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And at the flip of a coin, my brother got the first toss, which was a side-by-side shotgun, and this was one of 2 rifles that was in the shop, and I got this, or weapons in the shop, and I got this rifle. It's always had a special spot in my heart. This is Dad had this built in, custom built for him in 1963. I guess he would have been about 14 years old, by a local gunsmith. It's got I don't remember who makes the stock, but it's kind of a, there's a catalog that you can pick stocks out. The barrel is a Douglas Supreme. The action is a Mauser Action. It's a controlled round feed. It does have a floor plate that drops out here. And then the scope is a Bausch & Lomb Balvar scope. So it's a 3 through 8 power. It's just at the range earlier today. So, and usually when I'm walking, it's 2.5 to 8 power. When I'm walking through the woods, I'm lefty, so I'll hold it this way. But when I'm walking through the woods, I keep it at 2.5. I have not killed a ton of deer. I've killed 12 deer so far in my life to date. I've had seasons where I hunt a lot and then seasons where I go rock climbing a lot. So right now I'm in a hunting season, and I got deer the last 4 years with this gun. And so, yeah, hopefully we get a nice buck this year. Stay tuned, and I hope you enjoy the videos. the ammo that I'm using is this year is Hornady. I've got the Hornady 150, but I've also got the Hornady 180. I think the 180 holds a little bit of a better group, but so I'll be having 20 rounds of this as I step through the woods, and yeah, it's a good old deer slayer. Again, thanks for tuning in. Feel free to like, comment, ask questions, but look forward to doing a follow-up video in the next week or two with the opening weekend of buck season 2024 here in Pennsylvania, and there should be lots of footage from around the cabin and the camp as well. And yeah, Godspeed.